Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we've got a stack of sources that at first glance look like a pretty chaotic mix.
Yeah, a real pile of modern anxieties. We've got dating psychology, celebrity culture, even hip-hop production, deep cuts.
Exactly. And debates about relationship commitment. When you lay them all out, they tell one remarkably coherent story.
And that story is all about the power of crafting and projecting an intentional image. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore that, the control, the calibration that goes into what attracts us.
Is it real?
Is it real? Is it authentic expression? Or is it a very, very effective performance?
That's the perfect way to frame it. We're sort of exploring the line between being effortlessly compelling and, being relentlessly prepared. We're going to start deep inside, looking at the internal secrets of seduction, what makes someone feel magnetic before they even say a word.
And then we'll move outward, right?
Yeah.
To how public figures construct those external personas, often using curated mystery.
And finally, we'll zoom in on music production, which is maybe the ultimate form of crafted, intentional art. Okay, let's start with the engine room of attraction. The sources shared this really surprising piece of research. It's often called the siren effect.
It's a great study. So they took participants, told them they were wearing full glam makeup. But here's the thing, they weren't. They were totally barefaced.
And what happened?
They reported being treated better, respected more. They said people looked at them more often than usual.
That is fascinating, because it suggests attraction isn't just physical.
Exactly. The external part was non-existent. The conclusion the researcher, Jan Boudreaux, came to was that the attraction wasn't physical at all. It was purely behavioral.
So it's the internal feeling, this idea of being shiny.
Yes. The expectation that you should be looked at because you believe you look perfect, that changed their posture, their voice, their eye contact. That internal shift was the real charisma.
So this is something you can just manufacture through belief alone, or do you need some kind of baseline self-worth to even start?
Well, the baseline helps, but the key is activating that self-fulfilling prophecy. The siren, as an archetype, decides she deserves attention. Her body broadcasts it, and then others react to that, which confirms her belief.
It's a feedback loop.
A very clean feedback loop.
Following that internal theme, let's get into what the sources call the ideal lover method. Some call it the Oprah or Lisa seduction method.
Right.
And this is not about simple surface-level compliments, is it?
Oh, not at all. Far from it. Simple compliments are cheap. This method is a deeper act. It's about seeing someone's absolute highest potential.
Their future self.
Their future self, their most successful reality, and then speaking to them as if that's already who they are. You're not complimenting their shirt. You're complimenting their capacity for greatness.
Okay, so give me a concrete example. If I just say, you're smart, that's a good compliment. How is this different?
It's different because it has to connect to what that person values. So if you're a budding entrepreneur, instead of you're smart, you might say something like, the way you analyze market trends shows me you have a true CEO mind. You're validating their deepest, maybe unspoken dream that makes them feel profoundly seen. And you become magnetic because you're validating their most authentic self.
Which leads us right to personal integrity and attraction. I really appreciated how the sources talk about shifting away from approval seeking, that old habit from, childhood bullying.
Be nice, make people like you. Instinct.
Yeah, and that's the total opposite of the ideal lover method, because the focus is on pleasing others, not on yourself.
Absolutely. And the rule that comes out of this material is so important for building a magnetic persona. It's this. If your main goal, whatever it is, can't be achieved by being your authentic self,
then what?
Then you change the goal. You don't change yourself.
That's a radical commitment to self-acceptance. You're not wasting energy performing for validation.
Exactly. And that internal shine we talked about with the siren effect, it only becomes truly radiant when it's rooted in that kind of genuine self-acceptance.
Okay, so let's connect that deep internal integrity to the external projection of charisma, especially with celebrities. We've got two key archetypes here, the keg and the star.
Right. The keg is pretty straightforward. It's the life of the party, the person telling the loudest jokes, organizing the group. They're the focal point.
All about energy output. But the star is way more intriguing. They have a subtle magnetic quality that you can't quite put your finger on it.
And the source says they only need about 10 seconds to register with you, even if they're not, conventionally stunning.
They mentioned Janice Kwa in White Lotus.
Exactly. She might not be the loudest person, but when she does register, that impression just lingers. It's that subtle difference between someone who is obviously trying to be seen and someone who just is.
That effortless magnetism. We see that in principles of physical mastery, like the Mamba mentality, Kobe Bryant's whole framework.
Oh, absolutely. That obsessive commitment to preparation, to self-correction, seeing setbacks as just data, it applies directly to crafting a powerful image.
The physical parallel they use is Bruce Lee's concept from Jeet Kune Do, non-telegraphic movement.
Which means eliminating all the non-essential stuff, the flowery, anticipatory gestures. It's about maximizing efficiency and authenticity.
So what does telegraphing look like in a social setting? If you're using this non-telegraphic movement, what are you cutting out?
You're cutting out the obvious performance. You know, someone who laughs a second too late to make sure everyone sees them getting the joke, or someone using huge, sweeping hand gestures while flirting.
That's telegraphing. It's announcing your intention.
Right. It says, I am trying to achieve an outcome. But non-telegraphic affection or humor, that's the small, perfectly timed nod, the genuine smile. It bypasses social defenses because it feels real.
And that's where the power is, in the genuineness. But let's flick to the dark side of this intentional image thing, the narcissistic feedback loop.
Yes. So if the siren effect is positive reinforcement, this is the toxic version. It goes back to the tale of Narcissus. Constant public observation reinforces self-consciousness and, well, it can destroy your ability to see yourself clearly.
The danger is that the only way you see yourself is through public perception. How am I coming across?
Am I hitting the mark?
Yeah.
And this leads directly to what the sources call performative emotion. The need to convince an audience you're feeling genuine sadness or joy when the display is the real point.
Not the feeling itself.
Precisely. If an emotion is real, you don't need to perform it for attention. You just experience it. The second you start monitoring your own reaction to make sure it looks authentic, you've broken the spell.
So we've seen how internal beliefs and external performance create magnetism. Now, how does that intentionality show up in something external, like an artifact? Let's switch gears to music.
Maybe the purest form of intentional art, and the best example for relationships because of the investment. The sheer amount of time and focused thought into it. We forget that.
Yeah.
No algorithms, just hours of, excruciating patience.
It's the ultimate anti-algorithmic gesture. It's like a Polaroid picture of a relationship at that moment.
And artists use that same curated communication. They let songs talk for me when they're trying to woo someone, letting the music say what they can. Al Green's Simply Beautiful is a classic example.
And beyond the personal, music is one of the most powerful tools for social and political statements. The sources point out how jazz, blues, rock and roll, they all carried these radical messages.
Nina Simone is the prime example. Her platform was completely linked to speaking truth to power.
And you can see how political it is by the backlash. Censorship is basically a political statement that this music does not belong.
Totally. The Doors being banned from Ed Sullivan for singing Higher, or those attempts to link Judas Priest to real-world tragedies, which, failed in court because music is complex emotional expression, not direct causation.
And few artists use intentional contradiction better than Gil Scott-Heron.
In Whitey on the Moon, he masterfully puts a devastating urban problem. A rat done bit my sister Nell, right up against the awe-inspiring headline of the Apollo mission.
It's a powerful critique, showing the massive resources spent on space while huge problems on the ground were being ignored.
Absolutely.
Now let's look at today's production landscape, because intentionality is being really challenged by technology.
It is. The whole thing is democratizing so quickly. AI tools can now handle instant mastering, stem separation, things that used to require expensive engineers in studios.
For our listeners, stem separation is isolating individual tracks, right? Like the drums, bass, vocals from a finished song.
Exactly. It's amazing for accessibility for remixing.
But the sources also flag some serious ethical concerns. Voice cloning, for example.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I could just create a perfect track using a cloned voice, what does that do to the artist's original intention? It raises huge questions about originality and artistic integrity.
The intentionality shifts from the artist to the tech itself.
And even with the tech, intentionality is still everything for producers trying to stand out, like Madlib.
His sampling strategy.
It's so disciplined. He doesn't just grab a catchy loop. He sets these parameters for himself. Instruments, release year, the record label, to create his unique sound signature.
He has a formula.
He does. He treats it like an engineer. The finished song has to fit his framework. Drums, bass, mids, vocals, and effects. Every single element serves a larger, calculated sound.
That structural approach brings us to our final phase, the paradox of control and commitment in relationships. We've talked about projecting an image, but sometimes it's what you don't share that's the most powerful move.
That is the art of mystery. That intentional restraint leaves a space, a vacuum, for the other person's fantasy to rush in.
And the fantasy is where the emotional investment starts.
Right. If someone doesn't call you back and gives no reason, you can create this whole flattering story about why they're busy saving the world, not just uninterested. The fantasy is always more compelling.
It's so powerful that some committed couples choose to live apart together just to maintain that space.
Exactly. We also see this intentional projection in archetypes, like the Aphrodite archetype. It's about hyperfemininity, love, beauty, sexuality, but, and this is crucial, without sacrificing power.
So being intentionally feminine and powerful
at the same time, which is a stark contrast to the harmful dynamic of the Madonna whore complex.
A psychological concept where a partner can't see a woman as a whole person.
Yes, it's so destructive. It forces her into the mother box, this asexual, nurturing role, and it degrades her when she tries to express natural sexual desire. The partner is often displacing their own unresolved issues onto her.
So what does that look like in real life? What are the behaviors?
You see it when a partner expresses confusion or even disgust when the nice woman shows desire, or they idealize her purity but seek out sexual experiences somewhere else.
So it's an inability to reconcile those two natural parts of a person.
Yeah. It just shows that real magnetism comes from accepting the whole person, not just the curated parts.
Okay, let's wrap with the provocative consumerist view on commitment from the dating sources. There's that blunt question. Why should men commit to what the whole world already got for free?
Yeah, that's a provocative take. It's all about perceived value coming from exclusivity and effort. And this viewpoint highlights a disconnect the sources see in modern dating.
Where many women rate themselves very highly.
A 10, yeah. And yet they struggle to find commitment.
So how do the sources argue that self-rating disconnects from the external requirement for commitment? What's missing?
The argument is that while self-confidence is great, the value of a long-term commitment from this consumerist angle hinges on rarity, on exclusivity, on effort. So if the woman's self-rating doesn't align with the effort required to build a relationship, or if there's no perceived cost to gain her affection, the incentive for commitment can diminish. It suggests a need for better calibration. So if we synthesize all of this, the thread that connects everything is rigorous intentionality. Whether it's the siren effect or mama mentality or the precision in Gil Scott-Heron's lyrics, success hinges on that deliberate choice and careful calibration.
The most magnetic things feel effortless because the preparation was relentless.
Exactly.
I think you're right. At the end of the day, we're drawn to two poles. On one side, you have the highly controlled aspirational projection, the star, the siren. On the other, it's deep, uncontrived, authenticity, non-telegraphic movement, the ideal lover, a heartfelt mixtape.
Both are powerful, but both require a profound level of intentional construction, whether it's internal or external.
So we'll leave you with this final provocative thought. We've seen that to be compelling, you must either find your most authentic self and project it without calculation, or construct a deliberate, seductive fantasy that leaves room for mystery. When you assess the magnetism